To this pot, we have 2 large chicken breasts, bone in, skin on, trying to get as much flavor as we can. And this is 8 cups of water. Here's our seasoning we're going to add to the pot. We have 1 teaspoon black pepper, 2 teaspoons salt. Now that's cooking salt, not iodized salt. We have 1 tablespoon chicken base, which is like a chicken bouillon, but this is chicken base. 1 teaspoon of dried thyme leaves, 1 teaspoon onion powder, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon celery seed. Now this is going into the pot. Now we're just going to get it incorporated. This is going to make a great stock for these dumplings. Now once this comes to a boil, I will reduce it down to low. I will put a lid on it. And we're going to let this simmer 2 to 3 hours. I really want a great broth. It's come to a boil. We reduce the heat. We put the lid on. And we're going to let it simmer for about 2 hours. I've got it at a number 1. I may decrease below that, between a low and a warm. It just depends on the amount of steam that I'm getting. But I'm happy at this point. 2 hours, y'all. Because this is where you know where your flavor's going to be. Because remember, we're adding dumplings. So, you know, it's going to absorb some of this flavor. I know that it needs black pepper. This is really going to be to taste, y'all. I may have put a 1/2 teaspoon. But I know that it needs salt. Not quite a teaspoon. Let me get this over here. I almost picked that up and stirred with it. And I'm good to go, okay? This is good. This is just simple dumplings. Now, I'm going to turn this down, just let it simmer, because we need it to bring it to a rolling boil once we get to the dumpling part. But right now, we're fixing to cut up some carrots. Yeah, I said carrots. I love carrots in my dumplings. That's why I said you could have added some celery, had celery and carrots. I'm just going to put some carrots in here. Okay, we got 2 large carrots that I have washed. Now, I don't leave the skin on when I'm putting them in my dumplings. They will float because you've got, you know, a constant light boil going. So, got my little handy dandy. I don't know if y'all have ever seen these. This is my second one in 15 years. And I'm going to tell you what, I love these, what are they called? Finger peelers, that's it. Y'all been out in that greenhouse. Y'all saw the video, I think. And I'm just going to come in and peel these carrots. I'm using a paper towel here just for, you know, cleanup. But y'all, this thing here, Buddy bought me one, like I said, probably 15 years ago. I don't remember which store. He traveled a lot, and he would go in little knick-knack stores. And then finally, when the blade played away this past summer, I hunted and hunted locally, and I finally went online. It always tends to be my last choice for whatever reason. Getting better at it, though. I mean, I'm enjoying stuff coming to the house. And I was able to find a company that made them. And I absolutely love it. Okay, there we go. I'm telling you, if you've never had carrots in a dumpling, what? So good. Okay, so mess is cleaned up. I'm just going to set that right here. And I'm going to come in, take the bottom and the top off. Y'all, these are some pretty carrots. There we go. Now, this is where you can do it however you want. I'm just going to go down kind of on a bias. You know, I want a good bite-sized piece. I don't want it to where it just mushes, okay? So I'm just going to come in, cut me some, let's see, 1/4 of an inch maybe. Y'all, I never measure. But y'all are making me measure, I'm going to tell you. It adds a little bit of sweetness to the dumpling, you know, because it's very rich anyway. And color. And, you know, I just think that food, you know, you have 3 senses. Sight, smell, taste. And it doesn't take, you know, the taste is up to the hands of the cook. Sight is presentation. I don't serve this up in a platter. I just think something as dumplings can carry itself in a pot. But you want that sight of color. To me, it triggers the mind, and this may be restaurant talk. You know, I had a family, you know, with restaurants. So, but I'm going to tell you what, when it's appealing to the eye, it opens up your senses to your smell. And who knows, if you're a little bit off on your seasoning, nobody's going to notice because they just started, you know, tasting already with the look and the smell. So, hey, it's a win-win. And there we go. It's just enough to give a little color and a little bit of sweetness, okay? So I'm just going to get this in my pot, bring my stock up to just a boil, okay? We're going to go ahead and turn the camera around. We're going to get these dumplings made. Then I have a little trick to the ending of the dumplings. Mine turns out a little white. Half and half. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Before we go any further, I forgot to tell y'all this when I was getting the camera turned around. I've got about 3/4 of a cup of the chicken stock. Now it's a little warm. I'm going to set it here and let it cool on down while I get all of my flour and things like that that we're going to make the dumpling with. So, go ahead and pull you up about 3/4 cup chicken broth and melt you 1 stick of butter. Salted, unsalted, doesn't matter. So, 1 stick of melted butter, 3/4 cup of chicken broth. We may not need the whole thing, but draw it up anyway. Go ahead and get that while I'm getting my butter melted, and then we'll go step by step. Okay, we got everything lined up. Remember, we have our 3/4 cup chicken broth. Some people use milk, some people use Crisco. I'm just going to show you Lippy's way. So it's 3/4 cup. We may not use the whole 3/4 cup of chicken broth. Then we may. It depends. It's humid outside. I'm going to tell y'all, dough's kind of like candy. It has a mind of its own, depending on the weather. We have a stick, and I've got salted butter, but this is a stick of melted butter. You can use unsalted, that's fine. We've got baking powder. We've got salt. We have a pastry cutter, and we have a rolling pin, and we have all-purpose flour. We want 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, this is not a dumpling as in a biscuit-looking dumpling that floats on the top. That's more of a European dumpling. It's what I call just a southern dumpling. Now, excuse me, I tell you, since this weather's changed, it's keeping me congested. Okay, I'm just going to set this aside. I'm going to need my flour. Tell you what, let me get my wooden spoon. Just so I can start mixing. Now, we're going to go in with 2 teaspoons of baking powder. If you were using self-rising, okay, so if you were going to exchange these 2 cups of all-purpose and use 2 cups of self-rising, you would still have to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. But since we're using all-purpose, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. All right, let's set that aside. Now we're going to come in with about a teaspoon of salt. Remember, I'm using salted butter, so. All right, we're just going to get this folded together. Now, you don't have to have a light hand on this. We're not making biscuits. You're actually going to almost have the consistency of a pie crust. And y'all see I've got my nifty stainless steel bowl. All right, I'm going to make a well. To this well, there's my 1 stick of butter. Now, if you're a family that loves dumplings, you may want to double this. I think this is going to be fine. Remember, we've reduced our chicken stock as it's simmered. So we've got about 7 cups of liquid. And since it's just him and I, that's why I did 2 chicken breasts. Now, all I'm doing is just kind of getting this butter mixed around. If you were going to omit the butter, you can use Crisco, in the can, or lard. I'm not going to use that, but you can. And I would say a heaping quarter of a cup, omitting the butter. All right. Now, I hope I can show you in the camera. Right now, we're like crumbled peas because that butter now is solidifying again, meaning it's hardening up. And that's what I want. I'm not worried about a light hand. Now, I'm going to start using my hand. And I tell you what, I'm not cutting the camera off because but Gigi, our little Boston Terrier, wants in. I'm going to leave the camera running, y'all. Lippy brings you into her house. So, I want you to see everything. Take me about 2 seconds. That didn't take long. I bet y'all think, what a video. All right, I'm going to go in. That's about half of the 3/4 of a cup, okay? Oh, it's not too hot to handle. I should have pulled it up right at the beginning, but I got to talking to y'all and I totally forgot. Of course, I'm going to show you what the dough's going to look like. Now, I'm using my left hand because all I wanted to do is pull away from this pan. That's all I wanted to do, okay? It's kind of hard to give a measurement, but we're going to start there, and it'll kind of give us an estimate. Oh, it's starting to come together. As soon as it wants to fold into a ball, we're going to be there, and that's where it's at. Almost a little on the sticky side. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add in a tablespoon. See, the one good thing about this is you can't mess it up. Cannot, I promise you can't mess it up. I got heavy-handed on the broth. See, and you don't want that. So I'm going to go in with a little bit more. That's why I say do a little bit. If I'd have dumped that whole thing in, oh, mercy. Oh, mercy. Okay, we are there. So what, I add extra 2 tablespoons, just enough to dust it? Yeah. Okay, it's coming together. Now we're going to get that aside. Now we're going to come in with some flour, y'all. Now I didn't say biscuit making didn't make a mess. Dumpling making didn't make a mess. But I want to make sure that my dumplings don't stick, okay? It's just the fact it's so good, it's kind of worth the cleanup, okay? Now, I've got me a ball coming out. Bam. Now I got to get it off my hands. That's going to come off easy. All right, there's our ball. I tell you what, we're going to take this and this, and we're going to get all of our mess in here because we want it out the way because we're going to be rolling. Always have you a wet rag. If I'd have had a wet paper towel, I could have threw it in the trash, but I'm just going to set that right here. Now, I'm going to come back and I'm going to dust it because we're fixing to work this dough. Okay, I'm going to put there we go. Get some on my hands. Let me get that in there. You see, I'm pulling that flour. Pulling that flour. We're just getting that ball. There we go. Pulling that flour. Oh, it's so nice and warm, y'all. Now, let me bring it to me a little bit. Tell you, it's going to pick up a lot of this flour. Now, what I'm going to do is, now that I've got it just about even, I'm going to take it away from me and I'm going to fold it. And I'm just going to press down using the palms of my hand, okay? Press down, turn it, fold it over. We're just basically working this dough. Doesn't really matter how you turn it, but what you're wanting to do is you want it to resist you. Now, I'm not counting how many times I'm folding this dough, but what you're wanting it to do is resist, meaning it doesn't want you to mash it down. It gets kind of heavy on you, okay? It's a good workout because I'm not looking for air. One more time and I think we're there. Oh, yeah. Now I'm going to roll this whole. You could, if you wanted to, you could do half to make it easier, you know. But, and it's so much fun, y'all. It's almost like Play-Doh, okay? There you, I just thought about it, and we just got some for the little one. The other ones are too old for it. Play-Doh. You know what Play-Doh feels like? Well, that's what you're going to want this to feel like. Okay? And it's there. All right. Yeah, we are there. Now I'm going to come in, dust my rolling pin. This is where the workout comes because you want it thin, guys. Okay? You want it thin. Now, you're not trying to make a circle. You're trying to get a square going. Now, I'll tell you, and I have done it. Years ago, you was low on flour. Or back then, you could get, they were little bitty cans. I think it was 10 biscuits to a can. Yeah, it was. And they were like 6 for $1, 4 for $1. And I would take those. It would take 2 cans. And I would ball that dough up. I mean, all the biscuits. Just like I had got to the point where I balled it. Put a little flour and roll them out. I kid you not. Was not bad. Was not bad at all. Okay. You know what I forgot to pull out? Thank goodness it's right here. Pizza cutter. Y'all, when I was introduced to a pizza cutter, especially for dumplings, well, it took me some practice, though. I'm going to tell you, boy, you go to rolling that sucker will just get crazy on you. Over the years, I've learned how to use it. But man, has it made it so much easier. But if you're in a bad situation, you want to get something cooked, you out in the woods, you camping, yeah, you don't think you're bringing your pizza cutter, a pocket knife, anything, you know. Y'all see, it is very, very thin. But I do like mine uniform just because I like my dumplings to be even. It's, I don't know, it's just one of those weird things that I've got. Okay. We are there. Plenty of dumpling. Plenty. Now, I want to give it a little dusting because I don't want it sticking. Okay? And it is not sticking. So we're good. Here's the trick. Now I got to figure out. See if I can wipe my fingertips off so I can get in this drawer here. And get this. See, y'all, I keep it real. Okay, now, you can go long ways first. I'm going to go short. Reason being, these eyes. So I got these glasses on. And I don't know, I'm thinking, let's see, 2 inches in width, okay? Yeah, about 2 inches. But yeah, first time I used a pizza cutter on dumplings, y'all, them like, well, see, I got to talking and see what happened. It said, whoop. It's okay. Now we're going to come back in. Now see this little piece here? I'm going to move him out the way because he's going to mess me up. But now see, since I made my cut crazy, my first cut's going to have to be crazy. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to leave that one by itself. Then I'm going to come in here. See, because as some of them are wider, I want to take this out. You see what I'm doing? And I'll stop right there. There we go. I ended up with one piece. That's it. Now, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to pick all of these dumplings up. Okay? Just like this. Because I want them in that flour. And I'm going to get them on a plate. So I'm going to walk over, cut the camera off. And this is all I'm doing, y'all. I'm just kind of running them around in this flour, get them on a plate, bring you back, and go to the next step. Okay? Carrots are tender. But now before we move on, I remembered something. Remember when I said we had the pastry cutter? I didn't make it clear. That was if you were using Crisco. Remember, I didn't use Crisco. I use a stick of melted butter. But if you were using Crisco or a lard, you would need that pastry cutter to cut that into your flour. I wanted to clarify that. And what made me think about it is when I went to put it back in the drawer because I didn't use it, I forgot to tell y'all, that's why you didn't see me use it. That's in case you were going to use the Crisco. These 2 large chicken breasts made so much chicken, we may not use the whole amount. I hope we don't. Because that means tomorrow, Lippy gets her a chicken salad. Oh, if it was summertime, I could go out to the garden, get me a fresh tomato, core the center out, stuff it with some chicken salad. That could almost be my last supper. I kid you not. But we've got our carrots tender. Now, they're not mushy. They're just tender. We've got our broth coming up to a rolling boil. You need that, okay? Because we're not going to be doing a whole lot of stirring and disturbing. Here's my secret ingredient. You think that's milk. That's a half a cup of water and a half a cup of half and half. Now, you could do milk if you wanted to. I like half and half. It's a little bit more richer. And I do a half a cup of water, which makes a total of 1 cup. But you can omit that. You know, you don't have to use that. Matter of fact, a friend of mine used to make my dumplings the way I do it, only she wouldn't use this. She would use a can of cream of chicken to give it that little bit of extra thickness. I'm a big fan of half and half. You know, plus I put it in my coffee. But now we're going to go in with our dumplings. And you're just going to drop them in. They will float to the top. And this is going to take a while. But now once you get your dumplings in, try not to stir. You see, I've not put my chicken in. So, we're going to get these dumplings in. They're starting to float. Make sure my fire's up. May not use all these dumplings. And if I don't, they go in a freezer bag, y'all. And if I need to whip up a quick lunch, if I was to put some of this chicken in a freezer bag, you don't need the carrots. Take you some chicken broth that you've put up or in a can or whatever. Bring it up to a boil. You've got your dumplings in the freezer. You got some chicken in the freezer. You know, this could be a meal that you could actually prepare ahead of time. Now, I said I'm not going to stir, but I'm just going to come down the sides and kind of move it around. We're probably going to use all the dumplings, because once they come up and they start cooking, they'll get heavy and settle down. But when it's done, I'll take a picture of the dumpling bowl. All right, so all I'm going to do is keep adding this instead of letting y'all see me, because if it gets too full, I'll let it go down some before I add any more. Once I see that they have risen and started falling back down, that's when I'm going to take my chicken, the amount that I want to use, and I'm just going to kind of make a well in the middle, and I'm going to set that chicken in there. Then I'm going to take my spoon around the sides and kind of incorporate it, turn it on low, put the lid at a half mass, okay? And I'm going to let them cook 10-15 minutes. Oh, we're going to add this next. Let me go ahead and get the dumplings in here, because I don't want to confuse y'all with that. It's been a long day. It really has. It's been a dreary day. It's just been a dreary day. I'm kind of like, you know, if it's going to rain, come on and rain. If not, get on out of here. I'm going to end up using all these dumplings. Okay. Now, I'm going to let these dumplings cook probably 10 minutes, okay? Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to turn the fire down. I'm going to add that half a cup of half and half with a half a cup of water. And then I'm going to add the chicken that I want. Put the lid on, like I said. Half mass, keep your fire down low, another 10 minutes. It's dumpling time and we're going to plate up. I'm about to sample. Now, if you don't feel comfortable making dumplings, and I'm going to say this again, give it a try. But if not, just get you a can of the plain biscuits. Ball it up. Roll it in some flour, roll it on out, and then finish up as I showed you. It's not going, it's different, but not enough to where you're like, oh, I don't like it. It works, y'all, especially in a pinch. But got me some good stone ground cornbread. Love cornbread with dumplings. Like I said, the carrots, you can omit that. It just gives it almost like a creamy chicken soup kind of, especially if you put celery. But remember, I used the celery seeds. It's hot, perfect on this day. It's cloudy. Like I said, the rainies do either come or just, going out of here. But we're going to sample it. We're going to see. Okay, here we go. This is what everyone needs to treat themselves to, especially when they've been out in the yard all day. Matter of fact, just treat yourself to this because you're breathing. You did something good today. I mean, everybody does something good in the day. Y'all, this is where it's at. Try this recipe. And young lady, here's your dumplings. You know who you are, because I know you watch. You've been asking for the chicken and dumplings. Here you go, darling. I think this will be a recipe you'll pass on to generation after generation. It's really easy, y'all. But I'm going to get after this hot bowl.
my piece of cornbread might end up getting 2 pieces of cornbread. So until next time, God bless you.